Hello, everyone. It's Mr. Kissinger at the Citizenship Academy in Syracuse, New York, and this is 5th grade math module 4, lesson 32. We're going to interpret and evaluate numerical expressions, including the language of scaling and fractional division. So basically what that means is we're going to be turning words and phrases into equations and vice versa. So I'll show you a little bit kind of what I mean here. We're looking at number one. It says circle the expression equivalent to the sum of 3 and 2 divided by 1/3. So we're going to figure out what corresponds to that phrase there, that sum of 3 and 2 divided by 1/3, and how would that look in numerical form or number form. So I'm going to start by looking at the sum of 3 and 2 here, this part of it. And the sum of 3 and 2 is going to look like, like this, 3 plus 2. So I'm looking and I see 3 plus 2 here. I see 3 plus 2 here. I have 3 plus 2 here. This looks like 3 plus the quotient of 2 and 1/3. So this isn't going to be 3 plus 2. So I can cross this one out. That one's not going to be our answer. Now, it says I need to take the sum of 3 and 2 and divide it by 1/3. So this is the sum of 3 and 2 divided by 3, not divided by 1/3. So I can cross that one out. This one is 1/3 divided by 3 plus 2, the sum of 3 and 2. That's not going to work because the commutative property does not work for division, so it needs to be in the correct order. So it must be 3 plus 2 divided by 1/3 right here. So we're going to circle that one. The second one here, number 2, it says circle the expression or expressions equivalent to 28 divided by the difference between 4/5 and 7/10. So this time there may be more than one correct answer. We'll have to see. So 28 divided by the difference between 4/5 and 7/10. So that'll look like 4/5 minus 7/10. I see that here. I see that here. I see that here. And here. Okay. So, oh, hold on. I went too quickly. This is not 4/5 minus 7/10. This is 7/10 minus 4/5. So this one cannot be our answer. Now we're looking for 28 divided by the difference between 4/5 and 7/10. Well, this is the difference between 4/5 and 7/10 divided by 28. That's not going to work. This one here, 28 divided by 4/5 minus 7/10. That one will work for us. And then 28 divided by the difference between 4/5 and 7/10. That is also the correct answer. So we have two different ways of showing that. Now, this one here doesn't give us like a multiple choice. It says fill in the chart by writing an equivalent numerical expression. So we're going to have to take these words and turn them into number sentences that are equal to the way that they're written here. So it says half as much as the difference between 2 1/4 and 3/8. Well, so let's write the difference between 2 1/4 and 3/8 first. So 2 1/4 minus 3/8. And then I need to find half as much as that. So I could either do divided by 2 or I could do all over 2. And we'll just do divided by 2 here. I have more room to my right than I do below this. So that'll be half as much. B says the difference between 2 1/4 and 2 1/4 and 3/8 divided by 4. So we have 2 1/4 minus 3/8. This time we'll do it as a fraction. We'll do over 4. Letter C says a third of the sum of 7/8 and 22/10. So we have 7/8 plus 22/10. Then we do 1/3 of that. So we could do divided by 3, or we could do 7/8 plus 22/10 times 1/3. All right, letter D says add 2.2 or 2 2/10 and 7/8, and then triple the sum. So we have 2.2 plus 7/8 times 3. I'm going to triple the sum of those two numbers. And then number 4 here says compare expressions 3a and 3b. So we have this one and that one. Without evaluating, so without solving those expressions, it says identify the expression that is greater. Explain how you know. So I have 2 1/4 minus 3/8. And I have 2 1/4 minus 3/8. So I'm starting with the same number, the difference between 2 1/4 and 3/8. And then I am dividing by 2 here, and I'm dividing by 4 there. So which one is going to be greater? Well, a number divided by 2 is going to be greater than a number divided by 4 because I'm splitting into less groups. I'm not splitting it up as many times. And if I divide by a bigger number or a greater number, then I'm going to end up with a smaller quotient. So 3a is the greater expression. Because 2 1/4 minus 3/8 is divided by a smaller number. So now we're going to do this same chart except the opposite way. So letter A, this time is going to tell us the expression, and we need to put it in word form. So we have 3/4 times 1.75 or 1/75 plus 3/5. So I'm going to say 3/4. And I can just use a number for that. That's how they did it before. 3/4 of the sum of 1/75 plus 3/5. I'll say and instead of plus. All right, so that's 3/4 of the sum of 1 and 75 hundredths plus 3/5. Next one here, we have 7/9 minus 1/8 times 0.2 or 2/10. So the difference between 7/9 and 1/8 of 0.2. That's the difference between 7/9 and 1/8 of 0.2, or 1/8 of 2/10. Letter C, it says 1.75 plus 3/5 times 4/3. So I'm going to say 4/3 of the sum of 1.75 and 3/5. And then letter D, it says 2 divided by 1/2 times 4/5. So let's say the quotient of 2 and 1/2 of 4/5. Number 6, compare the expressions in 5A and 5C. Without evaluating, identify the expression that is less. Explain how you know. So we have 3/4 of the sum of 1.75 and 3/5. And we have 4/3 of the sum of 1.75 and 3/5. Well, 3/4 of a number is going to be less than 4/3 of a number. 4/3 is a greater fraction. So 5A is less because 3/4 of a number is less than 4/3 of that same number. Now, we couldn't necessarily tell without solving or without evaluating if this part wasn't the same on both of them, but because we're taking a fraction of the same number, a larger fraction of that same whole will be a larger number, and the smaller, the lesser fraction of that same whole is going to be less. All right, so now it's asking us to evaluate these expressions. Now we're actually going to go ahead and solve. We always want to do our parentheses first. So we have 9 minus 5. This is going to give us 4. Then minus 5 gives us 4. And then divided by 1/3. Well, divided by 1/3 is really the same as multiplying by 3. We're going to multiply by our denominator. And it's going to give us 12. We just flip our fraction. It's the same as 4 times 3 over 1, which is the same as 4 times 3, which would give us 12. Letter B says 5/3 times 2 times 1/4. So first we're going to take 1/4 of 2. This is going to give us 2/4. Which is really 1/2. We'll simplify after. This is 5/3. We're going to multiply. It's going to give us 10/12. And 10/12 equals 5/6 when we simplify. We can divide 10 by 2 and we can divide 12 by 2. It's going to give us 5/6. I'll box my answer over here too. And finally, letter C says 1/3 divided by 1 divided by 1/4. Well, this 1 divided by 1/4 is the same as 1 times 4. That's going to give us 1/3 divided by 4, which is really 1/3 times 1/4, which equals 1/12. All right, and we're going to stop right there for today. Thank you guys so much for tuning in, and I look forward to seeing you next time.